Hey, this is the Chapter 13 test, and I'm kind of walking you through what I expect you to be able to do here. Might even be helping you with a couple of the problems. And the title of the test was Equations of Lines. Fun, fun, fun. So slope here, and it blurred out a little bit, but it said slope, M, equals rise over run, which equals change in y over change in x, which is the same as or equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we will use that throughout the test. Slope-intercept form, here's a reminder that y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Standard form, ax plus by equals c. And finally, point slope form, where it was y minus y1 equals m, which is the slope, times x minus x1, where x1, y2 is a point that the line passes through. And we'll use those things throughout the test. Here we go. Complete the table by finding values for x and y that work. Then it says plot the points and draw the line exactly through the points. Well, here we go. So the equation is y equals x plus 1. So if I put 0 in for x, this becomes y equals 0 plus 1, which is, of course, 1. If I put 1 in for x, y equals 1 plus 1, which would be 2. I'll let you choose a third point for there. And then, where's my handy-dandy ruler? Here's one. We're supposed to plot those points. So this point would be 0, 1, which is right here, 0, 1. This point is 1, 2, which is 1, 2 right there. So I can draw a line through there. Obviously, unless you were able to print this off, you're not drawing lines. But I was able to. And look at just being off a little bit. Look at what I got, two different lines there, but the thicker one is the one I'm going for. So there we go. All right. So I plotted the, and really, this is what I'm going to be asking you for on the questions that I ask for online. I'll give you a point for x, and you'll have to tell me what it would equal for y. It will be the next one if you are following the pattern here. That would show up right there. For number 2, the directions are solve for y, leave answers in y equals mx plus b form, which we know is the slope-intercept form. Well, this one looks close. Y equals negative 8 plus 4x. It is already solved for y, but these two are in the wrong order. So this would actually be y equals 4x minus 8, or plus a negative 8. Remember, the slope is the coefficient of the x term. And the b, which is the y-intercept, is what is back here. So make sure you get those in there. This one we actually do have to solve. Not too tough. We just have to subtract 3 from both sides, which would give us the equation y equals negative 7/8 x minus 3. Again, here's the slope, or m. Here's the y-intercept, or b. And I'll let you wrap those up. Number 4, find the slope of the line. You just need to write m equals, because remember m means slope. And we're looking just for the slope. Now you could do change in y over change in x, but these points are right on the intersections here. So we can just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for a rise. And 1, 2, 3 for a run. Of course, you'll have to simplify that slope. Over here, same kind of thing, except you're coming down. So it's not 1, it's a negative 1 for the rise, and again, a 1, 2, 3 for this run. So a negative 1 for the rise, and a 3 for the run. The equation of a line is y equals 5x minus 7. Well, remember, here's the slope right there. And remember that if it's a parallel line, write the slope of a line that is parallel to this line, that the slope will be the same. So whatever that slope is, that's what you're going to put right there. Here it says write the slope of a line that is perpendicular, which it means you'll have to make, it's the negative reciprocal. Reciprocal means you write 5 as a fraction, 5 over 1, hint, hint. And then you do the reciprocal, so you flip that fraction over, and you write its negative. So instead of 5, you would write negative 1 over 5. But I'm not going to write it down, so hopefully you're listening. For number 8, here we go. Find the slope of the line that passes through these points. Well, remember, slope equals change in y over change in x. So for our change in y, we'll do y2, the second y, minus y1. So 6 minus 3 for the top, and 2 minus 0 for the bottom. I'll let you finish that up to tell what the slope is for number 8. And then for number 9, same kind of problem, but we'll do 2 minus 3 for the top, and 0 minus negative 5 for the bottom. I'll let you wrap that up and tell what the slope of that, the line that passes through those points would be. Don't forget, turn that into a positive. And moving on to number 10 on the other side, or a different piece of paper, depending on how you printed it out, if you did print it out. Find the x and y intercepts, then graph the linear equation. So here's the equation here. We should be able to find the x and y intercepts. Now remember, the x-intercept, that's when it crosses the x-axis, is when y is 0. And the y-intercept is when x is 0. So let's go back up to the equation and figure out what these would be. If y is 0, then 5 times 0 is 0. So this would disappear, and we would have negative 3x equals 15. Well, what does x have to be? Negative 3 times what equals 15? And it would be a negative 5. If we were looking for the y-intercept, then we put 0 in place of x. So this goes away. And we look here. 5 times what equals 15? And that is what goes right in there. 5 times what equals 15? That goes right in there to find the intercepts. If we were going to plot these, if you have the graph available, the x-intercept is at negative 5, 0. The y-intercept is at 0, whatever. I'm not going to tell you, but I guess I'm showing you. And then you would draw a line through there. But this line is not going to be part of the test online. This will be part of the test online. And here we're looking for the same thing. The x-intercept is when y is 0, and the y-intercept is when x is 0. And look at how this graph is. So I'm assuming the y-intercept will be in the negatives, because look how much of the negative they gave here. The x-intercept could go either way. I guess it's kind of split. But so if we put 0 in for y, that goes away. 3 times something equals negative 3. 3 times negative 1 equals negative 3. So negative 1, 0 is our x-intercept. And for the y-intercept, put 0 in for x, and it tells you right there. That's your y-intercept. And then we would plot that and draw a line through it if you had the ability to do that. Number 12, I guess 13, 14, and 15 all kind of go together. It says the graph shows the height, y, in feet of a kite x seconds after you start letting out the string. Find and interpret the slope of the graph. Well, let's look. What's the slope here? It goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a lot of times kids, it says find and interpret the slope. They just write that right there. But remember, interpret the slope means you're putting units on there. So the 4 was going up, and the up-down units are right here. So 4 feet per 5 somethings. And that's what you write in there. So that's what find and interpret the slope would be. Write a slope-intercept equation of the line. Well, remember, slope-intercept would be y equals mx plus b. So we put y equals, and then we know what the slope is. We just found it. So we put that in place of the slope, or the m. Y equals 4/5 x plus, and then wherever it crosses the y-axis, that's what you put right here for b. And you can look over here and see where it crosses the y-axis right there. You put that number right in there. And then, what is the height of the kite after 10 seconds? Well, look. You can't find it after 10 seconds. But you could look here. It's going up 4 feet every 5 seconds. So in 10 seconds, how far would it go up? And most kids put the wrong answer of 8 feet here. But 8 feet is not the right answer. I will put that as a distractor on the questions on the online though. Remember, look at where the kite already started at 4 feet in the air. So it started at 4 feet at 0 seconds, and then it went up the 8 feet. So actually, after 10 seconds, this kite would be 12 feet off the ground because it started 4 feet at 0 seconds, and then it went up 4 feet in 5 seconds and another 4 feet in another 5 seconds. So 12 feet total after 10 seconds. Interpret the y-intercept of the graph. What does it mean that the line crosses here? Well, that means that at 0 seconds, this kite was already something. Probably because you don't start a kite by laying it on the ground. You start it by holding it in the air and running and jumping and waving your arms or whatever you do to get your kite up in the air. But you have to write down what the interpret the y-intercept means. Just maybe I'll have a couple of choices there, but it started that far up off the ground. 16, write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. So we'll write y equals something x plus something. So let's look here. What's the slope? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 1, 2, 3. And then where's the y-intercept? -1. So I can clean that up. The answer on the online is not going to look exactly like that. It'll be simplified here, and it won't have a double operator there. Over here, number 13, same thing. Y equals something x plus or minus something. So we look for the slope here. Now, down 1, so -1 over 1, 2, 3. And then the y-intercept is right here. We put that number in here, and that one will be in slope-intercept form. Number 18. Write in point slope form an equation of the line that passes through these. Well, remember point slope form. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, well, we're looking at number 18 here. And we do y minus, well, here's our y1, our slope, x minus x1. That's how we do number 18. I'll let you do number 19 all by yourself. Don't forget to put that in for the slope. And these are minuses here. So when you minus a negative for the y1, you can turn the minus a negative into a plus. So anyway, you'll be able to do number 19. And let's look at the last two here, 20 and 21. Write in slope-intercept form an equation of the line that passes through the given point. So if you recall, what we have to do first is find the slope. Find the slope of that line. So to find the slope, we'll do y1 or y2 minus y1, -1 minus -1 over 4 minus -3. Well, 4 minus -3 is easy. That's 7 on the bottom. Well, -1 plus 1 is 0 on the top. Oh, it's a horizontal line, a slope of 0. But when we're writing it in, right, in slope-intercept form, a horizontal line, remember, is just going to pass through where y always is here. So let's start by writing it in point-slope form. We're supposed to write it in point-slope form first. So y minus y1, which would be -1, equals 0 times x minus an x1, or whatever I'm using here, is 4. Well, if we look, 0 times this is all going to just be 0. So I have y plus 1 equals 0. I subtract 1 from each side, and I get y equals -1. So that really is in slope-intercept form because the intercept is 0. The intercept is -1. Sorry, there is no slope here. So y equals -1. It's just a horizontal line. Last one. So here's the answer to that one. Last one. You have to find the slope. I'm going to let you do that. Remember, it'll be 1 minus 5 on the top, 0 minus 2 on the bottom. Then you'll put this in y minus y1 equals slope times x minus x1. So point slope form. And then, so you can use either of those to put in place of, but you have to be consistent. You can either go with that point or that point. And then you're going to simplify this to have y equals, and then you'll have mx plus b, but you'll have numbers in for m and the b. And that'll be the answer for number 21. Hopefully this quiz went pretty well for you. I walked you through a lot of the problems. Good luck.